I've worked in rural labs for my entire career, and that can be incredibly challenging when you're up against shipping constraints, weather, and tight turnaround times. The one patient who stands out in my memory was a woman who had been battling cancers for years. Through her treatments, she had unfortunately developed antibodies, hemolytic, warm autos, you name it, and it felt like she had it. With her condition, we were struggling to keep her hemoglobin above 75. Her demand for blood kept growing, and matching her was becoming more difficult. Her goal was to make it to her son's birthday, and then hopefully to her 52nd birthday. Our lab was a 2-technologist lab. I spent hours of my day on the phone with her physicians, pathologists, Canadian Blood Services, and transportation contractors, trying to come up with a viable solution. My coworker had to take on all the other work because I was focused on saving this woman's life. When we collected her samples, the timer started. We had 96 hours to get the unit of blood into her body, collect the blood, ship it 5 hours to the nearest Canadian Blood Services for antibody ID and phenotyping. Then Canadian Blood Services had 24 hours to get that donor unit matched for her and in our province, deliver the blood back to the facility, transfuse the patient, 4 days to make it happen. Then things started to get complicated. We only had one donor in Canada that was a match, and they lived across the country. The 96-hour timeline got tighter and tighter. That one Canadian was a hero. They were personally keeping our patient alive. They kept her alive to see her son's birthday. The hardest conversation I have ever had with this patient came in the weeks before her 52nd birthday. She had developed another antibody. We had no more matches for her in Canada. We had no on-site pathologist that could deliver this news to the physicians and the patient. So it came down to me. I sat with her in our ECG room, tears in my eyes, and explained to her that we had run out of safe options for her. She could still be transfused, but the units were no longer a match. She could still be transfused, but at any time she could have a fatal reaction. I never thought that I would have a conversation like this as an MLT. It felt like I was personally responsible for this horrible outcome. But she looked at me with gratitude and thanked us all for everything we did to get her to this point. She made it to her 52nd birthday, and it was MLTs and blood donors that got her there. Every patient's story is different, but every sample is treated this way. We will always go above and beyond to give patients the best outcome possible.